Hey guys, it's Eric Green. Listen, how do I make sure that all these potential clients sign my letter and pay me before we start doing work? I use Anchor. Anchor created a fully autonomous billing system and closes the cycle with zero errors. It sends our agreement to the potential client. We'll follow up with them automatically to make sure that agreement is signed. It alerts us when it gets read, when it's signed, and when payment is made. And this way, you know where you are every step of the way. I was so impressed with Anchor, which, by the way, is free. We went to Anchor and have partnered with them. Now, if you go and you register with Anchor, which is free, by the way, if I didn't mention that, you will get access to all of our checklists and letters, okay? But you have to go through our link, all right? Again, by the way, Anchor's free. There is a $5 fee per transaction if you're wondering how they make money. But given that our minimum retainer is $750, it's less than 1%. It's nothing, okay? So again, it's free. They charge the $5, transaction fee on payments, and it will automate your onboarding clients, make follow-up, just puts it on autopilot. It just saves you all that stress and you will close more deals. All right. So sign up here. It's www.sayanchor.com/tax rep. Again, sayanchor.com, sayanchor.com/tax rep, TAXREP. When you go through there, you'll sign up for free and you will have access to all of our letters and checklists, which will save you the trouble of recreating them yourself. All right. Go check out Anchor and put that closing process on autopilot. Guys, I've told my horror story before with S Corp clients and how do you know what reasonable comp is? My horror story is when they went after that CPA who was a friend of mine for $125,000, arguing that he knew and that he knew better and that he should have made sure his clients took reasonable comp. I'm a huge fan of RC reports. RC reports, it's about $1,400 a year. We're charging the S Corps that come to us under audit $750 a piece. We'll probably make between $10,000 and $20,000 with RC reports. But if you have S Corp or C Corp clients, they have to each year get a report, and the report is as simple as possible. RC Reports has a huge database of businesses. It will give you a report that you can rely on. And so far, to date, when we produce that report, not a single auditor has challenged it. The critical thing right now is for your clients to get that report to support the number they're taking on the return, that you're taking on that return that you're signing. Best way to do it, RC Reports. Go check it out, okay? You can find them. It's trn.rcreports.com. Again, trn.rcreports.com. Go there, you'll save $100. It will change your practice, create an annuity stream for you, and bulletproof your clients' corporate returns. The Tax Rep podcast is now proudly partnered with Nice Job, the experts in reputation marketing. Reviews are so important for attracting new clients. Before Nice Job, I would ask people to leave reviews, but they would usually forget, and I didn't have a way to stay on top and remember to follow up with them. That's where Nice Job comes in. Their smart follow-up campaign recognizes who hasn't left a review yet and automatically sends carefully timed reminders that can increase your chances of getting a review by 300%. I tried Nice Job for Tax Rep, and it's been a game changer. We added 33 five-star reviews in our first month, and our Google business profile is like a magnet for new customers. You can try Nice Job for free for 14 days and get 50% off your first 3 months by visiting nicejob.grsm.io/taxrep. nicejob.grsm.io/taxrep. I'm going to put a link in the description of the podcast. Try it. It will be a game changer for your business as well. How do I manage my tax rep practice? How do I get transcripts? How do I track what is going on with the IRS with every single one of my client cases? How do we complete the offer forms, the powers of attorney, everything? We use Tax Help software. Tax Help software is the cornerstone of our practice. We use it for its intelligent ordering. Every single night, it will update the transcripts on our clients, so we will see things happen long before those letters even go to the mail. We can then, react. We can let the client know. We can get all the transcripts we need to determine what our client's best options are, when is the debt going to expire, and we can fill in all of the IRS forms and get them filed accurately, the analysis done correctly. If you're interested in giving it a test, go to taxhelpsoftware.com, use promo code TaxRepTrial, all one word, all caps. You'll get a free 2-week trial. Again, that's taxhelpsoftware.com, TaxRepTrial, all caps, for a free 2-week trial. If you love it and want to buy it, use TaxRep10, capital, all caps, TAXREP10, TaxRep10, all caps, one word. You'll save 10% on your purchase. It will be the engine that runs your tax rep practice, just like it's what we use for ours. Hey everyone, thank you for joining us on this week's Tax Rep Network podcast. I'm Eric Green, as usual. Joining me is Adam Lean from the CFO Project, and we've been Adam, we've been talking on the podcast about advisory, about kind of getting away from the grind. You have the skills kind of elevated. You're all about this, so I think it's terrific to have you here. And I'm going to let you introduce yourself, and if you can explain what the CFO Project is and kind of how that came about.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for inviting me on this podcast, Eric. So the CFO Project really was born out of really two frustrations that myself and my business partner had. The frustration number one is we were both accountants. Starting in our career, we started as an accountant, and myself personally, I didn't really like it, honestly. I didn't like the fact that I was told to sit and record the past and not really help the business grow. And that's what I really enjoyed doing, is helping the business grow. And so accounting was I was just sort of burnt out from that. And accountants are leaving at an alarming rate and are not joining the profession for the same similar reasons. The other reason why we started the CFO Project is because business owners are failing at an alarming rate. Business owners, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, only 50% of all businesses survive past their 5th birthday. And that's crazy. If you think about it, half of all businesses will fail before they reach their 5th birthday. And all that money, time, energy that the business owner poured into their business, gone. Yep. And the business owner is now left with a ton of regret, a ton of debt, and they have to go back and get a job. In many cases, they started a business because they wanted to get away from a job. So the idea behind the CFO Project is we wanted to equip accountants, bookkeepers, CPAs, enrolled agents, anybody in the accounting profession, with the ability to help everyday small and medium-sized business owners know how to have a growing and successful business. And we call it the CFO Project because if you think about it, I mean, and we all know what a CFO is. Every large company has one. Publicly traded companies have one. And their job really is to guide the leadership team on what to do to have a growing, successful business and to understand the business and financial strategy of the business. Well, if you think about it, every business on earth, whether it's the largest business in the world or the corner, popsicle stand, every business owner needs somebody in their corner that understands the business and financial strategy and can help the business get there. And that's exactly what a CFO is. So we thought, why don't we train accountants on how to provide CFO business advisory services? And to make a long story short, I got into it because I used to be an accountant, as I mentioned, and I started a business myself. This is back in 2006, and my business quickly grew. And then I started helping other business owners around me, and I realized that I took for granted the fact that I understood the numbers. Like, these are people that started their business because of a passion they have for what they do.
Yep.
Think of like a dentist starts a dental practice because they're a dentist. That's what they're trained in. They're not trained in business strategy, but all of a sudden, not only they have to be a dentist, they also have to meet payroll, and they have to pay these bills, and they have to hire people, and they have to figure out taxes. I mean, all this stuff that dentists aren't trained on. I mean, plug in any business owner, they're usually an expert at their craft, and they usually started their business because they want freedom of time and freedom of money. And so these are people that are really passionate about what they do. They're really not trained in business financials or business strategy. So let's partner with them and be that person. And so that's exactly what I did. I started helping these people as I was growing my business. I started helping the people in my industry that were struggling. And then that morphed into an outsourced CFO firm. And then I quickly got to capacity. I couldn't take on any more clients. And then I met my now co-founder of the CFO Project, Jeff, and he had a very similar background. He started several businesses. One he took public, and then he started helping other people. And then we realized, we compared our notes on our philosophy on being an outsourced CFO, and we realized that our philosophies were very similar, but they were very different than most fractional type CFO people, because we preached we sold a product, what we call a productized CFO service. In other words, if you think of the average product, I have a calculator on my desk. Somebody who manufactures calculators. You design a calculator once, you send it to the manufacturer, and they can produce thousands of them a day. It's very scalable. Fractional CFO services, by their nature, are not scalable, because every new client, you have to customize the engagement, and every new client you take on feels like a new part-time job. It's just not scalable. And at the same time, so we offered a productized CFO service. So the idea behind productized is that we're selling a system. So like that calculator that you produce once and sell it over and over and over, we're selling a system, but we're delivering it as a service. So you get the best of both worlds. Price high and it's scalable.
There's a lot to unpack there. All right. So
yes, sorry, I can keep going on and on. You have to cut me off.
This is why I wanted to have you on, because
yeah,
it's a couple things. One, so most businesses fail, and I'm going to go with retail businesses. Leave the services alone for the moment.
Yeah,
but the restaurant, whatever, because they're undercapitalized. I need, how much do I need to get it open? I need that. And they go without realizing, you're not going to open the doors and have a line down the block. It's going to take some time. You're going to have to market. They never think about marketing. And then I need to pay my bills. And so, but here's the thing. In a perfect world, they would have an accountant saying, hold your horses there, pal. Let's talk through this. And one is, often the business owners, they don't put value on the accountant. The accountant is viewed as, well, they'll do the tax return at the end of the year. So one is, the business owners that need to understand how to utilize their accountant. And we'll get more into that later. But how many accountants don't know how to run their own business?
Yeah.
If they're still sitting there trying to knock out returns till 11 o'clock at night, 6 days a week, 4 months a year, and then 2 more months later on. So in many ways, I think there are a lot of accountants that actually need to step back and look at, how am I doing this? How do I take if you go out to do returns, or you're a lawyer and you go solo and you're going to be jack of all trades, or you're what is it? Chief cook and bottle washer all Sundays. Right. Whatever the saying is, you really have a job. You don't have a business.
Totally.
How do you take that and become a business? I think is very critical. And so I'm fascinated in what you're finding from the accountants that come and join your program, because I'm just curious. I'm dying to ask in a nice way. How often do you look, let's step back and fix your business before you start fixing other people's businesses? Yeah. It's I'm very happy to have this talk today because I've been sort of beating this drum.
Yeah.
My book on how to build $1 million practice, I talk about what to do with your 1040 practice, right? I mean, you know, everyone sort of gets caught up and they'll figure it out later. Business owners, especially, like you said, the dentist is a dentist. He doesn't want to be the accountant. And so one is, yes, you need an accountant to do the numbers, as you said, the post-mortem, right? After the fact, it's history.
Yeah.
At some point, I want to get into the mind shift. How do you get the accountant? Although obviously, I think if the accountants come to you, they've already started that mind shift. But how do you get them to shift from I need to be proactive, in their face, kind of advising, rather than waiting till they show up with the box of stuff, and then I'll do the return and let them know how good or bad it is?
Yeah. No, great question. I think it's accountants, whether they know it or not, are in a trap. Most of accountants are. They're in this trap because they do own a job. Their business is a job that they own. And so our philosophy is you need to shift your mind from thinking about your business as a job you own to a system, to a machine. I mean, think about like a washing machine. A washing machine's job is to wash clothes. A business's job is to make money. Well, if you are capped by your time, then you're capped in how much money you make. You have a poor washing machine.
Yep.
And so how do you do that? You need to be able to offer something that's productized. You need to be able to scale your services. And accountants, the most accountants have the worst of both worlds. They're capped by their time and they're selling something that business owners need but not necessarily want. And there's a big difference. That's right. Business owners want their accountant to guide them, to tell them what to do, to be a source of advice for them. Instead, most accountants are saying, well, I can't do that because I have 1 million tax returns. I got to do the books, tax deadlines approaching, and I have all these other clients behind you that are waiting. And they're not saying this out loud, but they're thinking, and I really don't know how to advise you. I don't understand it myself. So they're in this trap. We call it the accountant's trap, where you're trading time for money. At the same time, you cannot raise your fees because there's 1 million other competitors out there, not just other accountants, but software and AI, and, other well-known software that we all know that's trying to compete with you. And it's a recipe for burnout, low profitability for the owner, and it's a trap. And so go ahead. Sorry. I can keep going on and on and on.
I've had on a couple of years ago, I had Joe Woodard on, who founded Scaling New Heights. Yeah. And at the time, Intuit had started the automated bookkeeping. And we had all kinds of QuickBooks Pro advisors all freaking out. They're taking my job. And Joe and I kind of agreed, you could look at it that way. Or you could look at it as, well, wait a minute. If I could automate this, now I'm freed up. Go get more clients. Start doing forensic accounting, financial, advising. In other words, how you look at it, there are some folks who want to sit and they do everything. And then don't get me wrong, I'm not making fun of them. They get enjoyment out of the numbers and making everything work. And there is an art form to it, and I appreciate it.
Of course.
You're selling the most precious thing you have, and you can't get more of it, your time.
That's right.
I've also had Dawn Brolin on, who's one of my forensic accountants, and she actually got rid of 65% of her clients and doubled her income by going to relationship billing, which is she went to her best clients, said, look, I'm not doing your tax return. That is, frankly, I'm doing you a disservice to just do your return. I'm working with clients where I'm going to advise you all year. And so now they're not paying for a return or paying for this. It is one fee, and it's a significant fee. And she said all she needed were a handful. She got her life back, makes more money. And frankly, she told me she has the headspace now to really focus on the one client, because she doesn't have the pile waiting for her of the low value returns.
Totally. we have one member in our program who's been a tax accountant for 25 years. He joined our program 2 years ago. This year was the first, he sold his tax practice last year. This is the first year he went from like 400 something tax clients down to, I think, 11 CFO advisory clients. And he says he's made more money this year than he's ever had in 25 years so far. And it's August. And he didn't have to go through tax season.
Right. No, and for the folks listening, I get it's a little bit frightening, right? It can be frightening because what we're talking about is disassembling what you've built. And but it's one of those things that you owe it to yourself. So the question I have for you, and again, I'm fascinated by the accountants that join you, what they find. How, when you talk about scaling your practice, what do they think that means, and what does it mean? Because there are a lot of people like scale, all right, I'll just work more hours. That's not scaling. Right. That's working more hours. What are they like? Describe when the accountants show up, and have they already kind of shifted there, and that's why they're with you, or are they coming to you saying, I need help, and now you're trying to explain to them and have to get them on board with this?
Yeah. I think accountants and bookkeepers and enrolled agent CPAs, they come to us for three different reasons. So I would sort of classify them in three different groups. One is that accountant that likes doing the bookkeeping, doing the tax work or whatnot, but they want to be able to they want to enhance their service to sort of differentiate themselves from everybody else. So they want to be able to add this advisory component and say, look, I can be your advisor and accountant, and I could be the all-in-one, kind of like what you were describing that Don does. The second thing that a lot of accountants come to us is that they are not they're offering advice now. They're offering business advice now, whether they have to their tax clients or bookkeeping clients, but they're really not sure if the advice they're giving is the best advice, because they don't themselves have never ran a scalable business. And they don't get it themselves. It's a cousin of the business coach who is consulting all these people, but have no idea how the advice that they are giving impacts cash flow. So how can you be giving advice if you don't know how the advice you're giving impacts cash flow? But I digress. And then the third group of people that join our program are people like that member that I just described earlier. Says, I don't want to go through another tax season. This is for the birds. I want to have a bigger impact. I want to offer advisory services to the thousands of business owners that are struggling, instead of being thought of as this commoditized, I can do taxes cheaper, faster, better type of service. And that message doesn't resonate with business owners. What does resonate is if you can be an accountant that business owners already trust their accountant. That's the one major benefit that we have. Business owners absolutely trust us more than business coaches, more than bankers, more than anybody else in the business owner's life. They trust their accountant. If you could be that person they trust to also tell them what to do, they will pay you whatever you ask, because that's what they want. Instead of saying, well, I'll do your taxes for $800 a year or something.
Right. Now, you mentioned something. For the folks that are wondering, am I qualified to advise? For instance, I'll give you an example. Just because it drives me fucking nuts. The clients that call and say, every year they're buying new equipment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you wearing through your equipment in a year? Like, what are you doing? And they'll say, well, my accountant told me I needed more deductions, go buy stuff. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You actually have, and by the way, there's CPAs and EAs, which makes it even worse.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. You had a CPA, licensed CPA, tell you to go spend $100 to save 30 cents. I said, and this is my line to the clients. Look, I'll make you a deal. This year, send me the money. I'll give you back 50 cents. And they look at me and they're like, that's dumb. And I'm like, yeah,
right.
So and companies starting undercapitalized. Do you find that you have to educate? Like, do you provide education? Like, if I come to you and I'm like, look, I'm a QuickBooks Pro advisor. I know books. I want to, and by the way, for the audience, I'm a big one. Education never ends. I go to three AB American Bar meetings a year just for the updates, and I always learn something new. Do you find that folks come to you and like they don't know how to make the leap? They don't feel comfortable advising, and do you like provide some of that education for them to close that gap?
No, that's a great question. That is pretty much why we exist. Is we seek to equip accountants with knowing how to provide this advice, and we do it in a couple of ways. We could have just offered training. We could train you to ride a bike by watching a bunch of videos, but until you get on the bike and until you fall off the bike and have somebody to turn to help you figure out what went wrong, it's not going to help. So we give training, but we also couple it with, we give you a trainer, a CFO trainer that will help you every step of the way. You have to submit exercises and case studies to the trainer, and they'll go through it and show you what you missed. Then when you go out and get clients and you have questions about how to deal with those clients, you need a place to go to. And so we have mastermind groups. We call them CFO roundtables every week. We have 6 every single week, and you go to yours and you get help. But the point is that, yes, business accountants, when they come, they want to help. But you mentioned the qualification, am I really qualified to do this? They come to our program because there's this question, am I really qualified to do it? But here's the thing. We're not training people to be the CFO for Coca-Cola tomorrow. We're just not. We are training people to be the CFO for the thousands, the millions of small and medium-sized businesses out there that they're not deciding between you and the CFO of Coca-Cola. They're deciding between you and nothing. So these people need help. And by the way, most businesses in the United States, 99% of them, according to the SBA, are considered small. And they don't have a full-time CFO. So there's a lot of market out there. And so we are training those people. So you are qualified with training and experience, which is what we give you in the program. But you are qualified if you have the desire to help business owners and you have a financial background and you have this training and experience that we provide. Then
if you have the desire,
yep.
And truthfully, if you're a bookkeeper, and let's start there, you already have a lot of the knowledge. It's really the application of it, right? It's the way you look at things. So the CFO project is really doing is creating CFOs. You're taking folks who have sort of the raw tax rep is very similar. These are accountants that are coming, EAs and CPAs. They know how to do a return. If you can do a return, you can do anything I do. All we're doing is, I guess, for lack of like molding, really is what it is. You have the raw material. We're just going to help mold, and we are your ongoing help desk. Same with you. So the folks that are coming to the CFO project can get trained, and they do have you ongoing the roundtable to lean on, which, by the way, is really the value. I mean, no offense. I mean, we have 170 hours of IRS rep training. And the library, don't get me wrong, is valuable. I used to think when I started tax rep, people come be a member for a couple of years and they'll go, right? When you train, they go. We don't lose many people. I've had folks with me 11 years since day one.
Wow.
Are still some of my platinum. In fact, they're now coaching for me because we've grown to the point where I can't really do it all myself. Yeah. It's the ongoing support, and frankly, that gives people that sense of, I'm not out there trying to do this alone. I didn't read a book and now I'm going to try to apply it. There's an organization behind me that I can fall back on.
That's right.
My question is, if like Dawn, she already had existing clients, so for her, it was narrowing down to her best. What about folks who need to find clients? So, all right. Adam, I want to get this training. I have support. I don't have business clients that are potential CFO clients. Do you help them? Is there, I guess, marketing training? I mean, how do you kind of help them, or do you help them get clients?
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually one of the cornerstones of the program. We teach systems, and we teach three systems. The first system is on how to get leads from business owners who need this service. Because business owners aren't waking up thinking, I'm going to hire a CFO today. They don't think they need one. You know, somebody owns a $4 million construction business doesn't wake up thinking, I need a CFO today. So you can't just place an ad on Facebook or, you know, a billboard somewhere advertising your CFO service. It's going to fall on deaf ears. So you got to do something different. So we've created systems that we've tested over the past several years and continually test today that will help you get leads without spending a dime on ads, without cold calling, without relying on social media. But then we also teach systems on, once you get a lead, how do you get them to actually buy your service? Because, you know, the average member charge in our program charges $2,500 a month for their CFO service. And if you know, the minimum that we recommend is $1,500 a month. So let's say you just do the minimum. What is that? Is that 18,000?
18,000 a year.
18,000 a year that you're charging. That's a high ticket sale. And so you can't just go up to a client at, you know, a potential client at the Chamber of Commerce meeting and say, I offer CFO services, you know, you want to sign up. It doesn't work that way. And so we have systems to convert leads to a paying CFO client. And the system works so well that if you work the system the way we teach, there's 4 steps to the system, you convert them about 65% of the time. Because here's the thing, you're not selling something that they kind of want. You're selling something that they absolutely want if they were aware of it and aware of you. So you don't even have to sell. Like I'm a self-diagnosed introvert. I don't want to go to a room full of people and try to talk to everybody and sell. It's just not in my nature. But when I talk to somebody one-to-one, I'm not even selling my CFO service. I'm guiding and advising, and I'm allowing them to trust me. That goes a long way. So there's systems to convert leads to clients. And then the third system, of course, is how to actually provide a CFO service in a scalable way. And the systems we teach take about 4 hours per month per client to do. Because again, it has to be scalable. You can't look at this as another part-time job because that's not scalable.
Right. It's interesting because I totally get it. Tax rep, IRS rep services, our marketing is simply talking about, you know, what you can do because people need help. They already need the help. They want the help. Yeah. I don't have to convince someone to hire me.
Right.
What we can do, these are the options. And I'm, you know, especially it's easy once you get a bunch of clients, but if you need me, call me.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, wait, don't go away. Right. They want this. And so with the CFO, especially if, wouldn't it be, you know, I actually think you could sell it on social media, but not like, hey, hire me. It would be like, you know, make sure your CFO is doing this. Are you paying more taxes? Could you get better bank financing and save? And you do a case study like that, there are going to be people that see that and be like, you know what, I got to talk to this guy.
Yeah.
It's not about sell. People think selling is I have to convince you. Right. That's not selling. In fact, con is part of convince. We don't con people into hiring us. It's they want this when they understand the value of it.
Exactly.
And you're right. There are many, they may not even realize they need a CFO. And if you say, well, get an accountant, they're expensive. But if they understood this is someone who's going to help me with financing, help me dealing with lenders, give me advice, make sure the books are done properly, save money on taxes, you know, but even that, the other thing for business owners and you know, for the folks listening to this, the headspace, if the business owner knows they don't have to deal with this anymore, they just got part of their brain back to focus on what they need to. That is hard to explain, but I mean, I can assure you, having, you know, the first time I started hiring associates, knowing that I didn't have to worry about those cases, a human being has eyes on them. I may still have to review, but I don't have to panic what's in that pile. What is something not going on? there are other human beings who are trained who are looking at this. Now, for the folks that come to you who already have bookkeeping clients, do you assist them? Because I'm sure one of the big questions is, how do I don't like the word upsell, because it sounds like, again, we're trying to just sell them something, but how to get them on board with, I recognize this, I am willing to step up now, like Dawn, right? I'm ready to step up now and actually put my big boy pants on or big girl pants on and have a CFO and really run this properly like a business.
Yeah, absolutely. The best case scenario is that if you do have clients already, they already trust you and they kind of expect advice from you anyways, whether you're their accountant or bookkeeper. They want your advice and they kind of expect it anyways. And so if you come to them, somebody that they already trust, they already trust you, and you come to them and say, hey, I was looking over your tax return and I noticed some opportunities for growth or some red flags. Can we hop on a call and talk about it? Who's going to say no to that? If you're their bookkeeper and you say, you've been doing their books for 3 years, and you call them 1 month and say, hey, I was looking over your books, I finished them, I have some ideas and suggestions for you on how to grow your business, increase your cash flow this year. Can we get on a call? Who's going to say no to that?
Right.
They're all going to say yes, absolutely. And then you get on the call with them, show them value, and then say, hey, I'm offering this new service where I essentially do this every single month. My goal is to help you make more cash, to have a growing and successful business. And by the way, I'll fire myself if I'm not helping you have a growing and successful business. Are you interested? Who's going to say, no, I'm not interested? Because business owners, their business is not a hobby for them. It's their job. It's their livelihood. It's their job. It's what puts the food on the table. And if their person that they trust, who already understands their numbers, is coming to them and saying, I can help you have a growing and successful business, they will say, who do I write the check out for how much?
Right. And I wanted to ask you about pricing. I know you mentioned, $1,500 minimum. Obviously, you must help people determine pricing, but what has been the experience in terms of again, for lack of a better term, upselling? Yeah. Do you find that once they get started, the people you're coaching, the CFOs, it just gets easier? To me, I imagine the worst part is the first time they ask, right? Because when I had to go sell, I never asked for a retainer before.
Yeah.
In fact, I was blown away the first time I said it, and they actually handed me a check. I was like, I wonder if I had a look at my face. I wonder if they noticed that I was like shocked.
Yeah.
That someone actually gave me money, so to do something for them. It's so on the pricing side, I'm curious. You kind of told us the minimum before. How much of it is getting their mindset to change versus just helping them come up with numbers? The numbers are one thing, but I find that like tax rep folks, they like, you charge for consults? Yes, we charge for consults. And I love it when I get the email like, oh my God, they paid me $250 for a consult. I'm like, there you go. They need you. They will pay.
Yeah, absolutely. And it 100% is a mindset shift in that we have to understand that what we were doing as compliance and transactional accountants and bookkeepers is we're delivering some sort of service to the client in exchange for money. But the thing is, the client doesn't really understand what you do. They don't really understand bookkeeping, and they really don't understand taxes. And when people don't understand something, they don't place a high value on it. They just don't. And so on the laundry list of things that business owners have to think about, the accountant's at the bottom. But all of a sudden, if you can go to your client and say, look, I will provide those things, but I will also each month have a meeting with you, and we're going to review your numbers, and I'll point out exactly what's working, what's not working, and what to do about it. Also, you can have a growing, more profitable business. And I'll do this as your CFO. All of a sudden, their view from you will go from a necessary evil to somebody that they want to have that meeting with. And when that happens, when the client shifts their mindset towards you, then they'll be glad to pay what you're commanding because they understand the value, especially once you start to show the value. Like once you start to show the value, it's really difficult to actually get rid of clients at that point. You'll quickly, like I first started almost 8 years ago, and I built up to capacity with 17 clients within about 16 months. Almost a year and a half. Got to 17 clients. I couldn't take on any more clients because I was just at capacity. And these clients stay with me for a very long time because why would they leave me if I'm helping them, if they find value in it?
And they trust you.
And that's right. They trust me. And it's a magical thing because you're helping them with, we were sort of talking about the peace of mind aspect a few minutes ago. You were giving people a real peace of mind because now they have somebody that can walk alongside them and be their guide, their confidant, their advisor on this big, scary thing called small business ownership that many business owners don't feel qualified to be in themselves. And yet here they are. And you come along and can shoulder this with them, they're going to say yes to you.
And really what it comes down to is, I'm sure you get asked this, how do I stop trading my time for money and build a business and leverage and scale this? What is the normal for folks listening to this saying, you know what, this sounds pretty good because I don't want to work another tax season.
Yeah.
How long have you seen it on average, for people to, and by the way, I'm assuming it's different for people that have existing clients versus need to go find new ones, but how quickly do folks generally ramp up?
Yeah, that's a good question. It depends. But I will say the average member gets their first CFO client within 90 days. And then most people, we have a 3-client guarantee where you're going to get 3 clients in your first year of membership. We guarantee that literally. And so we expect you to get your first client within 90 days and your third client within the first 6 months. But we've had members join that do have an existing existing book of business, and they will get their first CFO client within a couple of weeks. We have a wins board in our program where people post their wins. Actually, this morning, this one lady in our program posted just that. She joined about 2 weeks ago and already has her first CFO client. But it depends on a lot of different factors. But the average person gets their first CFO client within anywhere between 60 and 90 days.
Right.
But the hardest client to get is your first one.
Right.
Once you get your first one, it's so easy after that because they start sharing the word. Your strategic referral partners and the other people in your network, they start sharing the word. And when word gets out, it goes fast. And you'll quickly build up. And
it also breaks the ice on mindset so that, in other words, once I made the first ask and it worked, well, then it became easier to ask because I know this works. Yeah. Right. And by the way, again, for the folks listening, the way I do with our IRS, our tax rep members, within tax rep, we have tax rep social. It's our own social network. We do live conferences. To put it back, there's a saying, if you want to be a lion, hang out with lions, don't hang out with sheep. If you want to change your mindset on this and be a CFO, go hang out with CFOs.
Absolutely.
And I'm not talking about just go through the training and start. There are conferences just for CFOs, for CIOs. You do not want to be the smartest person in the room.
I agree with that.
Why? Because those folks, if your mindset, if your identity is sort of like a thermostat, they will literally shift your thermostat. They will heat your thermostat somewhere up between you and them. The way that happens is just ideas. Being around people, suddenly you see what they're doing, you're like, that's a great idea. I never thought of that. They will elevate you. And so part of the CFO training is the training, but you will start to see things you never thought about before, because you're just doing the books, just doing the return. All of a sudden you go from playing checkers to chess. There's no strategy to this. And I have to tell you, it's way more fun.
Yeah.
On a day when you can take the accounting or bookkeeping skills and now start playing chess with them, that is when life gets interesting. When you go from having a job to having a hobby. Tax prep is my hobby. It really is. I mean, I new stuff all the time. And so for the folks listening that want to do advisory, this is a great way to do it.
Yeah.
To be trained by folks who do this, start getting your advisory CFO clients. And Dawn does this and tax rep. That's all she wants to do. She does not do tax returns, does not do bookkeeping. It's take your skills and get more money for it, right? Where it's appreciated, where they'll pay value. Adam, it's terrific for folks that want to find you, that would love to find out more, connect with you. How's the best way to do it?
Yeah, just go to thecfoproject.com, thecfoproject.com. And there's a ton of resources. We have several free resources for you. We even do a live master class every Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern. So you can register there, and check out other free resources. If you would like to schedule a call just to learn, just to see if this is right, you can have an opportunity to do that on the website as well. And we'd love to speak to you.
Yep. No, and I will put the link in the description below for the podcast. Adam, thank you for taking the time. I can appreciate what you're doing because we're doing something similar in the IRS space. But given where technology is going, given just burnout in general, this is the time for people to start making this shift. Every single year, every tax season, you think it can't possibly get worse, and yet it does. That's not going to change.
Right.
All right. So, if not now, when? So, now. I think, when folks always ask, well, when should I get started? Now. If you're waiting for the perfect time, you'll still be waiting next year. There's never a perfect time. You start now. So, no, thank you. And I will put that link, the CFOproject.com, in the description below. Adam, thanks for doing this. And we got to get you back on because there's even more stuff we could go diving into that we didn't even get to touch on. But
well, thank you so much, Eric. It was really a pleasure with being here.
All right, everyone, listen, thank you for listening to this week's podcast. And go check out the CFOproject.com, and I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.